Just over 2 months to go to the grand opening of Paris 2024, and the region's athletes are preparing feverishly for their moment of glory. Today, we talk about some of those looking to shine in the French capital, even as we reminisce with one of the greats of the past. It's Le Baton, episode 4. I'm your host, Donald Oliver, and Ricardo Chambers is back, apparently.
I am back, Donald. I missed you last week and the week before. But can I tell you something?
Sure, tell me something.
I thoroughly enjoyed the last show.
Right.
I love the interview with Kyron McMaster.
Thank you.
It's one of the best interviews I have watched in a while.
Thank you very much.
I actually watched it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, times.
5 times?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I just watched it over and over again, and every time I watched it, there was something else to see and hear.
Well, I did my best. I did my best.
Well,
Thank
it wasn't you, it was Kyron. But the insight was amazing. And then I also enjoyed that segment with David Riley. So I decided to bring a Baton today because I just wanted to see how much you learned from David Riley last week.
Learned?
Yes.
I didn't learn a thing, actually. So,
Not even how to receive the baton? All right, let's try a thing. Come on. All you have to do, when I say reach, you get that hand back up, and I'll place the baton.
I get the hand back up.
Up.
Okay.
Let's go.
All
Ready?
right.
Reach.
Oh, what the heck?
Bro.
Really?
Okay, you know one of the things that David spoke about?
What?
Consistency.
So you're going to hit me again?
No. No, bro. Your hand is supposed to be in a place where I can predict that's where it's going every single time. When we were practicing, your hand was up here, and then a while ago it was down here. You're the one who messed up the relay. No, it's fine. I'm not doing it again.
No. Reach. How difficult was that? No person was injured during the process.
Well, you weren't moving that time. It was pretty easy. Anyhow.
Yeah.
Arguably Jamaica's greatest ever female quarter miler. She was involved in one of the most memorable Olympic races. Lorraine Fenton, Sydney Olympic 400-meter silver medalist, will join us on today's show.
And we'll also catch up with one of Trinidad and Tobago's best. It's been a rocky last couple of years, but Tara Gittins is back and focused on Paris. We'll get the latest.
Yeah, we'll also have a special feature looking at skateboarding, a sport that will make its second Olympic appearance come Paris. But
we begin with a look at a potential 100-meter clash that could ignite the athletic season in the build-up to Paris on June 1. At the race's Grand Prix, Noah Lyles, the reigning world champion from the US of A, will face Jamaica's Oblique Seville, a 2-time world championship 4th place finisher. Seville is yet to contest a 100-meter race in 2024, but has run personal bests at 200 and 400 meters, while Lyles has been in fantastic form, clocking 14.41 seconds, the joint second fastest time in the history of the rarely run 150 meters on Saturday. Only Usain Bolt at 14.35 has gone faster. So, Ricardo, how big is that clash on June 1?
Yeah, I actually think it's massive, Donald, for the reason that Noah Lyles is the world champion. He's been talking a lot this season, and he has promised something special at the Racers Grand Prix and the New York Grand Prix, which will follow. So he'll run the 100 meters at the Racers Grand Prix, and then following that, he'll run the 200 meters. Now, remember, his countryman, Kenny Benarek, ran 19.67 at 200 earlier this season. And after that performance, he tweeted and said, well, I'll let you keep the world lead until the New York Grand Prix when I run the 200 meters. And after his performance in the 150, at the Adidas City Games, the Atlanta City Games, put on by Adidas on Saturday, he came out pretty strong again. Let's listen to what he had to say.
These next 2 meets, Racers and New York Grand Prix, I'm trying to, drop bombs, truly. Like, blow off the doors, blow off the roof.
Yeah.
Drop bombs.
Athletically speaking.
No, of course.
Yes.
But that's a little bit ominous. I mean, so I like when athletes turn up big, but when that little preamble in the previews and you saying what you're going to do, you better not flop.
He usually is able to back up what he says, Noah Lyles. That's one thing about him. When he says he's going to do something, he usually does it or gets very close to it. So from that standpoint, I expect something really special from him on June 1, at least.
In Jamaica.
In Jamaica. I expect him to come out ready to deliver a high-class performance. But having said that, I expect the very same thing from Oblique Seville. Personal bests at 400, 47-44 this season, 20.1, his first 200 around the curve. Then he had the 1996 in a minus 1.1 on the straight on Saturday. So I think he's in the form of his life. Also, when I look at Oblique Seville this season, he looks a lot stronger and fitter than he has been in previous season. Looks as if he's put on some body as well. And I think it showed a lot in that straight 200 on Saturday that this kid is a lot stronger than he's ever been before. And I expect that Oblique Seville will run 9.7 in 2024. When he does it and where he does it, I'm really hoping that he does it in the Olympic final, but I think he is going to be that fast this year. And so I think it's a titanic clash with himself and Noah Lyles for the 1st of June. And I think that is exactly what athletics, track and field needs right now, a clash like this, Noah Lyles versus Oblique Seville, and I think it's going to be epic.
Well, I know that Noah Lyles probably would consider himself as the hero apparent to Usain Bolt, although he tries to kind of distance himself and says that he's running his own lane. And
The latest.
Yeah, because we have seen people trying to get that crown. But I think it probably means something special for him to do it in Jamaica and on Jamaican soil. Don't you think so?
Yeah, last year he came looking for the stadium record over 200 meters, which is held by Usain Bolt at 19.56.
Oh, yes.
This year, he's running the 100 meters. The stadium record is 9.75, held by Johan Blake. I suspect he's eyeing that, but I also suspect Oblique Seville is eyeing that.
9.7 so early?
9.75. Da da dee.
Ha.
Dee da da.
Huh.
Da da dee da 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 dee da da.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
June 1 can't come soon enough. We'll take a break, back with so much more after this, so stay with us. Yeah.
Arguably Jamaica's greatest ever female quarter miler, Olympic medalist, silver, and 3 times a world championship medalist at 400 meters. Add to that 5 global relay medals. Yes, she anchored Jamaica when the country won its first ever world champs gold in Edmonton 2001, and she is still the Jamaica national record holder at 400 meters. We are talking about Lorraine Fenton. You're watching the Baton. It's Sportsmax's build-up to the Paris Olympic Games as we welcome Lorraine to the show. Lorraine Fenton, it is such a pleasure to have you on our Olympic build-up show. First of all, how are you doing and what have you been up to?
Thank you for having me, Ricardo. I am doing great. And I recently moved, so I'm here in Iowa. My son decided to join the high school team, so I'm helping them out with that as well. So I'm doing awesome.
No, man, give us a full catch-up. That's not enough. It's been a long time. It's been 20 years. You retired in 2006. Well, 18 years, excuse my math.
Yes.
But it's been quite a while. Give us a full catch-up as to what has been happening with Lorraine Fenton.
Well, I mean, after I retire, I have my son. He's 16 years old. He have taken up a lot of my time, so I focus on him a lot and my family. So after that, I decided to, go back and start helping kids and stuff like that. So I'm currently helping the high school here in Iowa, one of the high school here. So, I mean, it's just mostly taking care of my family.
Yes, yeah. Sounds about right. Let's go back a little bit. I always tell the story that as a youngster, the first athlete I ever saw, well, the first Caribbean athlete I ever saw compete at the Olympic Games was Lorraine Fenton. Lorraine Graham at the time, because it was Sydney 2000. In the wee hours of the morning in Kingston, Jamaica, I woke up and turned the television on, and there it was, the first round of the women's 100 meters. And there she was, Lorraine Graham at the time, getting ready for action, and she eased through qualifying and then ultimately became an Olympic silver medalist. Lorraine, I want you to take a look at your career, and 18 years later, if you were asked to describe it, how exactly would you do that?
Oh my gosh, I would say it was a great run. It was awesome. I mean, I don't know any other way to describe it more than the fact that it was fantastic.
Amazing. Let's look back at Sydney 2000 first of all. I think I said 100 earlier, really meant 400 meters. And talk about everything going into the Sydney Olympics. At that time, you were already a World Championship medalist. You'd won a World Championship bronze medal. And so it wasn't unexpected that you would go to Sydney and win a medal for Jamaica. Talk to us about the expectations that you had going into the Sydney Olympic Games.
Well, first of all, I have to focus on each race, right? So I have to focus on getting to the Jamaica trials, make the Jamaica trials, go to the Olympics, and make it through the rounds, right? Because you're not there unless you make it to the rounds and get to the final. So my focus was always on staying healthy and mentally focused, you know, stay in the time that I'm in, right? Make sure that I'm eating healthy. I have all the people that I need around me supporting me and all that stuff. So it was all about staying healthy and focused.
Yeah, and then you get to Sydney now, and you are in an event that was a really high-profile event in Sydney, not necessarily because of you, but because of the Australian Cathy Freeman, who had come in as favourite. She had lit the Olympic flame at the opening ceremony, and all of Australia was expecting her now to win the gold medal. As an athlete in that event, how did you handle everything surrounding the women's 400 meters in Sydney?
Okay, so I mean, you cannot just block that out, right? You can't block that out because Cathy Freeman lighted the torch. I mean, it was all about Cathy Freeman at that time. But I have to focus on me, and I have to focus on my race and what I have to do and how am I going to execute my race. So it was all about staying focused and not let anything distract me from what I'm there to do. So, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, I like that there was a lot of attention on Cathy Freeman and not me or anybody else, because then it takes a lot of the pressure off of you. So you just have to focus on what you got to do. I think most of the pressure was on Cathy Freeman. So, yeah.
Were you under the impression that you could have, were you under the impression that you could have beaten the odds and get the better of Cathy in that final, though?
I didn't think that. I mean, I went in the race. I went in the race to win, right? I don't ever line up in any race and said I'm never gonna win. I went in there to win the race, and I said they either have to catch me or I have to catch them, and that's it. That's just it. I went in there to go out there and give it my utmost best.
I remember at the time that there was some controversy, or there was a lot of talk in regards to the bodysuit that Cathy was actually wearing in this final. Were you also thinking about that, or was that something that you pushed out of your mind totally?
Oh no, I pushed that out of my mind. I mean, if you want to go running, whatever you want to go run, you go running, whatever you go run. Nothing was going to distract me from what I was there to do. So no, the bodysuit didn't distract me at all, no.
And were you pleased, were you happy, or were you a little bit dissatisfied at the end of the race, although you got that silver medal?
Oh no, I was elated. I was happy. I mean, I give it my best. I mean, I don't think I could have run a better race. I don't think I could have run a better race than the race that I ran at Sydney.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, Lorraine, because I look back at that Sydney race and I watched a lot of your other global races closely as well. And for me, there was something different about that Sydney race, and it is how you ran the first 300. Because I don't think you ran the first 300 as aggressively, even in subsequent global finals. What was the difference in mindset for Sydney?
Okay, so with Sydney, I already have my race plan, right? I have my race plan. I know that I lined up with 8 really, really great athletes, right? So I have my race plan and I decide that I'm gonna stick to my race, right? And I know I have to go out. And I think I went out. I went out for the first 300. I know I have to run that really hard. I don't think if I'd run, say, the first 100 or the first 200 any slower, if I would have won or if I would have placed, right? So I have my race plan that I know that I have to go out because I have all lane 3, lane 4, they're all great athletes. So I have to go out and either they catch me or, you know, I catch them. But I rather have to let them catch me than be working hard to catch them. So that was the plan.
Lorraine, your name is still on the national record books, right? 49.30 seconds that was set a couple of years later. One, are you still surprised that you're still the national record holder over 400 meters after all these years?
Absolutely. It's almost, 22 years? So yeah, I'm very surprised. Because a few times, I think a couple of times, some of the ladies have come close to it, right? And I said, okay, they're not going to get it. No, maybe next time. And then I saw Nikisha Price, right? I think a couple of weeks ago, she ran 49.32, so she's also close to the record. And I think if anybody gonna get it, it probably is going to be Nikisha Price because she's young, she's healthy, and she's running great right now.
Lorraine, talk to me. Who did you think would have broken that record in previous years? Which name comes across your mind as, you know, at the time you're thinking, oh, she's gonna get it?
I think what's her name? She ran 49.32 as well. She tied the record with she tied the time with
Sharika Williams.
Sharika Williams. I thought Sharika Williams would have gotten it because she was close to it at that time, and she had looked really good too. So she was the one that I thought would have gotten it.
When we look at what you've done in subsequent world championships, I know that you'd have won 4x400 gold at the world champs. What did that mean to you, and if you can jog your memory, Jamaica at the time in winning that gold medal?
The gold medal in Edmonton, the
yes.
4x4. Finally, I would say finally. I mean, I'm just not the sprint queen anymore. I have a gold medal in the 4x4, so that was, you know, something. That was awesome.
Lorraine, when you look back at your career, are there any regrets?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Not even Edmonton 2001.
No. I think my only regret in track and field is when I got injured. At the time when I got injured, that was it. I don't have any other regrets. No.
All right, so let me pick your brain on a couple of things here. One, no regrets, which is perfectly fine. But I do remember 2001, after the Sydney Olympics, Cathy Freeman had won, Cathy Freeman had retired, and going into Edmonton, you seemed to be the favorite. And it was a massive shock when Amy Mbaketiam won the gold medal. Do you think you could have done a different race? Take us back to what was going on that year in the life of Lorraine Fenton.
Okay, so that year, I think like 2 or 3 weeks before the Edmonton championship, I had a strain, right? I had a strain in my hamstring and I didn't get to train like 2 weeks before the games. And I was like, I didn't want to go to the games because I wasn't sure if I was healthy enough to go to the games because I didn't train. I was just doing like rehabs of like jogging on the grass, swimming and all that kind of stuff because I strained my hamstring. And when I went to Edmonton, I was surprised that I actually made the finals because I was I wasn't pressing as hard in the heats of the 400 because of my injury. I was just testing it out to see how it would feel as I go heats by heat. So, yeah.
So given all of that, you would think then that that silver medal was a major, major success for you?
Yes, because I know if I was training the way I was supposed to train before I go to Edmonton, I probably would have gotten the gold, but I hate to go back and look at it like that. So for me, Edmonton was a surprise more than a disappointment for me.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense now. The greatest competitor you ever faced?
Kathy Freeman, of course. Yeah. I would say Kathy Freeman.
Why?
Yeah.
What made her so special, so difficult?
Because I don't think I've ever beaten Kathy Freeman in any race. I don't think. So, yeah, I would say Kathy Freeman.
Yeah. You know, let's talk about the injury quickly because I remember 2004, at the start of the 2004 season, I think it was sometime there that you got injured. I remember you were supposed to come to the Jamaica International Invitational that year and you couldn't make it. And initially when we heard about the injury, it sounded as if, okay, she'll be back. It's just for a week or two or so on. And then you just never came back that season, and then after that it was really difficult. Talk us through those closing stages of your career.
Yeah, I thought as well too. I thought I would have come back. I thought I would have make it back to the trials and all of that. But I ran a 200 and I ripped my rectus femoris, the big muscle in my quad. I ripped that, and I didn't know how bad it was until they actually do the ultrasound. And when they did the ultrasound, it was at over 90% ripped off the bone. They said just a little bit of fibers attached to it. And then I was still trying, but I couldn't.
Yeah. In
training, I just couldn't.
Yeah. 2005, you came back, you got to the World Championship semi-final, you ran again in 2006, ran 50.64 that last season, which is not bad, but for a 49.30 performer, not great either. How did you know it was time to end it there? Because so many world-class athletes struggle with deciding that this is it.
Yeah, so I'm a competitor, right? I like to win. And when I go out there, I give it my best. And usually when I give it my best, at the end of the race, I'm satisfied, right? I'm either coming out with 50 points, I'm in the top 3, in the top 2, or I'm winning the race. But in training, it was so difficult for me to get back to my form that I used to have before I got injured. So I would have my workout, and it was so difficult to make the time in training. And then when I go to competition, it was also difficult for me to get back to the shape that I was in. So after the World Championship in Helsinki, I believe, I didn't make the final. I said, I like to win. So I just have to hang up my spikes. That's when I know I have to hang my spikes up, because I wasn't winning, my time wasn't great, and that was it.
Yeah, Lorraine.
That was the indication.
Yeah, it was a fantastic career. Let me first of all say that as a youngster growing up, you were my favorite athlete to watch. There was nothing better than me seeing Lorraine Fenton compete in a 400-meter race. And my heart broke with you when you couldn't go to Athens 2004.
I know.
And when you didn't get to the final in Helsinki 2005, and when you had to finally hang it up in 2006. But it's been a pleasure catching up with you. Great to hear that you are doing great, and I'm sure you're going to be enjoying the track season and the Olympic Games this year as well. And who knows, by the way, who is your son going to represent? Jamaica?
Of course! Who else is supposed to represent? Yes!
Enough said. Lorraine, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, Ricardo. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah, a wonderful day. Donald, I've always seen her run. I've never spoken to her before today.
Really?
Yeah. Remember when she was competing, I was a child.
Well, in some ways, we take a break. Back at more after this.